This is the Shopping Bestie. I am Marquita, and listen, I wanted to talk about the Darius Cook's strategy, his impromptu from a live video where he talked about how Tabitha Brown should have taken her approach with the Target partnership, as well as the McCormick partnership. As you all may know, she has seasoning partnerships with McCormick, and Target kitchenware, food and wine partnership with Target.
I would have never signed my name to Target. I don't care if Target giving her $10 million. She could have started her own company. She could have sold her own product. $56 million out the gate.
Not the sip.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no way in hell I would have ever. 20 million ain't even enough. This woman has the ability. All she had to do was create 5 cookbooks, $150 million in the bank. 100% hers. No middleman, no agent, no manager, nobody to pay but your labor and your employees. $150 fucking million yours.
The sip.
Could have been me. Ain't no way in hell.
And I had to think about, I did a TikTok about this, but I got to come back and expand on something because I'm now really thinking through some things, and I want to touch on it. First of all, what Darius Cooks said is not necessarily wrong. And when I say wrong, his approach is actually, it makes sense when it comes from an entrepreneurial point of view. A person who is, has a pretty big following on social media who wants to then transition that to a ownership type of thing. I think that approach works well, especially as it relates to still owning your name and being in charge and having ownership. I think that makes sense. What he said is not really crazy. Part of the reason why people are barking back on that is, number one, is Darius Cooks. He has been problematic. He has been problematic for a long time, but I have watched Darius Cooks since the 2015, 2016 area, and he seems to be pretty good at entrepreneurship. Tongue twister. He's pretty good at running a business, but he is not the best at it. Where his advice, where it falls short, is that it is very much so short-sighted. Tabitha Brown, she's gone from being this social media influencer to now being a very major brand. And I feel like the approach that he gave, if she were to take the approach or strategy that he suggested, she would still just be a social media star. I think that she would absolutely probably be able to have take home a lot more pay and have ownership of a lot more. But the main reason why people partner with these major retailers and brands is because it helps expand their reach. It helps expand their brand beyond doing things all on their own. And that's something I feel like, especially our community, my community, this is where we sometimes lose sight on business, is that we're so hell-bent on owning, which I'm not against, but we don't realize how much that actually stifles your growth. And of course, this is all very situational. Like, if you're not really concerned about growing your business and growing your brand, then Darius Cook's approach actually is perfect and ideal. But I can tell just by the way Tabitha Brown, and listen, let's actually just do a roundup of what she has and what she has going on so far. Okay, she was already an actress you know, having credits behind her, but she has her own merch line, which she sells and owns and controls on her website. She has about five or six books, one's children's books and a cookbook and some other inspirational book. She also, like I said, she has her seasoning, which is sold at different major retailers as well as online through McCormick, something that she could not do on her own. Then she also has her own hair care line, which she is the CEO and co-founder of, which I think, just based off of my knowledge, she has more, you know, more control over that. And then there is, of course, the Target partnership where she, you know, it has that partnership with them with kitchenware, stationery, food, and wine. And of course, that changes over over the life of the contract that she has with them. Not to mention the media projects that she has. She has like her children's show that she does, and God only knows the other media projects that she has in addition to the products that I mentioned. So if you can just wrap your brain around that, can you imagine her taking Darius Cook's approach and trying to source the air fryer or the blender, and then doing the packaging, doing the branding, doing the marketing, and then also shipping those things out? Do you hear how crazy that sounds, to do all of that on your own, having to hire people, versus partnering with Target, which is, you know, they already have brand loyalty. McCormick already has brand loyalty. Tabitha Brown knows what she's doing. It's very much so intentional. And it's just so unfortunate that, you know, as much as, you know, Darius Cooks is very, very savvy when it comes to business ownership, he falls short when it comes to expansion. You know what I mean? Listen, I am not a business owner, but I study business. And just based off of what she has going on, it absolutely makes sense. Absolutely makes sense for her to take this approach. I want to go to my next point. Okay, now this part may ruffle some feathers, but as much as we all may agree with the Tabitha Brown example, one of the things that I started thinking about and really evaluating is my thought process as it relates to some of these natural hair brands that may have had the same intent, which is growth. And I really started thinking about of like how, and for the most part, people on the internet, people on social media are like, yeah, why would anyone want to take the Darius Cooks approach, right? Which his whole point is owning. But here's the thing, when it comes to the Mielles and the Shea Moisture and the Carol's Daughter, the approach for them was about growth. Their whole intent behind selling, in some situations, selling off the brand, and then also partnering with other brands or selling parts of their business, was all because of growth. Because they knew that having 100% ownership could only take them so far. So it's so funny. I'm going back now, right? Like, I'm thinking through of how I had a negative view on those brands because they had sold it or sold parts of their business. But when it comes to Tabitha Brown, I am all like, absolutely, it makes complete sense for her to expand her brand. Why is it that it's okay for Tabitha Brown, but it's not okay for Mielle? Why is it okay for Tabitha Brown, but not Shea Moisture? Why is it okay for Tabitha Brown to grow and expand her brand, but not Carol's Daughter? And listen, that can be argued, right? I think a lot of that is a lot of bias. You know, there's bias because we like, I believe within our community, we like to have that label of black-owned brands. But even just thinking objectively about it, same thing applies in those situations where they knew as the owners that they could only grow but so far before they stunt their growth, and they knew that their reach could only go so far with their products before they would stunt their growth, which is the reason why a lot of times these brands sell parts of it off to mega corporations because they need the assistance, they need the legwork. Same situation with the Tabitha Brown. But all in all, I want us to, take this situation and really think about, are we really pissed about when our hair care brands do the exact same thing? And understand why we are upset. Listen, I had to stop. I was a devout Shea Moisture consumer, and I had to stop because my hairstylist was concerned about, scalp issues. Same thing with Mielle. I had to stop using the drops, and I have been using it for years, just because it started causing irritation. So I get us feeling like when they do that, it taints the quality of the products. However, that's all a part of it. If we are not concerned about Tabitha Brown's products being tainted, and we accept what comes with it, with her partnering with these brands, we have to take the same approach as it relates to these brands like the Mielles, the Shea Moisture, so on and so forth. But yeah, that was just food for thought. I wanted to expand on something I had talked about or what I talked about on TikTok. But what do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you feel now a different kind of way with the our beloved brands that had sold their company? How do you feel about what Darius Cooks had to say? Do you feel like he had a point, or do you feel that Tabitha Brown is headed in the right direction? I do personally think that she's headed in the right direction. She made the right move because, to be honest, the move that she's making has allowed her the space to put her energy into other projects and other products. That's all for now. I'll talk to you later.